And once you lay down, you've got your knees bent, feet flat, and arms are going to be out like a T. Turn those palms up so you can let the chest relax. The back of your neck is long. Notice here if your shoulders are really popping up, try to walk your shoulder blades underneath you a little bit so the chest is open, neck and shoulders relaxed. And then walk your knees and ankles in towards each other. And on your next inhale, let both knees fall towards the right. As the knees fall right, eyes look left. Try to keep your left shoulder blade down. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, draw the left rib cage down. As this rib cage pulls towards the floor, feel your stomach muscles fire to drag the knees back up to the middle. And then inhale as both knees fall towards the left. Eyes look right. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, draw the right rib cage down. Feel the stomach muscles fire to help you drag your legs back up to the middle. And then inhale, knees go back to the right, eyes look left. Exhale, draw the left rib cage down as you pull your knees back center. Inhale, knees go left, eyes look right. And exhale, draw the right rib cage down and pull yourself back to the middle. Good. Once we get back to the center, cross your right leg up and over the left. And really hug those thighs together. Cross your leg like you're sitting in a chair cross-legged. And then on your next inhale, let both knees fall towards the left. Eyes look right. It's just a deeper stretch than what we just did and through the hip and the low back. Stay here for an inhale. Exhale, draw the right rib cage down. Feels like a little more work to pull yourself back up to the center. And then inhale, both knees go to the right, eyes look left. Exhale, draw the left rib cage down, pulling yourself back to the middle. Inhale, knees go left, eyes go right. Exhale, draw the right rib cage down, firing up the core to drag your knees back to the middle. Inhale, knees go right, eyes look left. Exhale, draw yourself back to the center. And when you get back to the middle, uncross your legs, cross the left one up and over the right, and then let both knees fall towards the right as eyes look left. Stretching the left hip, maybe a little into the low back, keeping the shoulder down. Inhale. Exhale, draw the left rib cage down to pull center. And then inhale as both knees go to the left, eyes look right. Exhale, draw the right rib cage down as you pull back to the middle. One more time, inhale as the knees go right, eyes look left. Exhale, draw back to the center. And one more time, knees left, eyes right. And exhale, draw back to the middle. Good. Once you come back to the center, uncross your legs, bring your arms down by your side, palms are turned up. Neck and shoulders are still rolled open, feet hips width distance apart. On an inhale, tilt your pelvis forward to get space under the low back. Exhale, use your stomach muscles to draw your belly in, flattening your low back towards the floor. One more time, inhale, tilt the pelvis forward, feel that space build up. Exhale, tilt your pelvis back, and then leading with your tailbone, one vertebrae at a time, roll yourself up to a bridge. Pause at the top and inhale. Exhale, drop the ribs, and one vertebrae at a time, lay your spine down. See how long you can make your spine as you lower it one vertebrae at a time. Inhale first. Exhale, tilt the pelvis, leading with the tailbone. Try to lift up one vertebrae at a time. So you keep the stomach tilting the pelvis as you roll up to that bridge. At the top, feel yourself pressing through all four corners of the feet. Your knees should be stacked right over the ankles. You'll probably feel a little pull at the top of the thighs because we're continuing to try to tilt that pelvis back. Staying connected, ribcage to pelvis, but the shoulders are rolling open. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, drop the ribs, one vertebrae at a time. Lower your spine back down. Inhale here, exhale, tilt. Peel yourself up, one vertebrae at a time. Pause at the top, inhale, feel that nice long line from your shoulders out through your kneecaps. Exhale, drop the ribs. Keep lengthening through the spine, continuing to tilt the pelvis back so the low back comes down before the pelvis hits the floor. One more like that, inhale first. Exhale, tilt your pelvis. Leading with your tailbone, one vertebrae at a time lifts up. When you get to the top, you can feel the shoulder blades pressing down into the floor. You're maintaining that little bit of space in the back of your neck. The shoulders keep rolling open. Stay here, inhale, and exhale, drop the ribs, and one vertebrae at a time, lay yourself back down. Good, when you get back down, again, we're gonna inhale, tilt the pelvis forward. Exhale, tilt the pelvis back, flattening your low back, pulling the belly in. One more time, inhale, tilt it forward, and then exhale, draw right back to neutral. So now we wanna keep the pelvis nice and level. We're gonna keep the ribs from flaring. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, bring the right leg up to tabletop. Make sure both hip bones are still pointing straight up. That same amount of space is under your low back. Stay here, inhale, and exhale, lower the foot to the floor. Inhale here, exhale, bring the left leg up to tabletop. And again, make sure that both hip bones are still pointing straight up. Don't let that left one drop. Stay here, inhale, and exhale, lower. Inhale here, exhale, bring the right leg up to tabletop. Good. So now stay here and inhale. On our next exhale, we're gonna reach the right leg out towards the opposite wall, but keep the pelvis level. Don't flatten the low back, don't arch it. Pull that knee right back in, and then place it on the floor. Inhale here, exhale, bring the left leg up. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, left leg goes out. Both hip bones keep pointing straight up. It comes right back in, and we place it down. Inhale here, exhale, lift the leg. This time on an inhale, we're gonna reach it out. Exhale, pull it back in, and inhale, lower. Exhale, lift the left leg up to tabletop. Inhale, lengthen it away. Don't let the back arch, don't let it flatten. Pull it right back in and place it down. Inhale, and then exhale, lift up the right leg. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull it in, and inhale, lower. Exhale, left leg comes up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull it back in, and inhale, lower. One more each. Pull the right leg up. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, pull it in, and inhale, lower. Exhale, left leg comes up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull it in, and inhale, lower. Good, bring the right leg up. Pause right here and inhale. Exhale, left leg comes up. Good, so now both legs are up in tabletop. Just slightly tilt your pelvis back a tiny bit more so you're imprinting the spine towards the floor, but we're not flattening it. So we're really connected here with cage to pelvis to keep this connection so that the back stays stable as we move the legs in this position. On your next exhale, lower the right leg towards the floor and bring it up. Next exhale, left leg towards the floor and up. And again, right leg lowers and up. Left leg lowers and up. One more, right and up and left and up. You can keep here just doing the legs or send both arms up towards the ceiling. This time as the right arm goes overhead, the left leg lowers and back up and other side. So now we're tugging from both sides. The weight of the leg is trying to tilt the pelvis forward, but you're holding on so that doesn't happen. The weight of the arms is trying to pull the ribs away from the pelvis, but again, you're holding on so that doesn't happen. We're just stabilizing right here in the middle while we move arms and legs to get those stomach muscles fired up so they can figure out how to support us for the rest of the exercises we do. Good, we're gonna do this. Let's do one more each side. Good, let your arms rest down by your side. Place the right foot down and then the left. Good, so coming back to feet hips width distance apart, tilt the pelvis forward on your inhale, and then exhale, draw right back to neutral. So back to neutral spine where we started. Make sure those heels are pretty close to your seat so your knees are stacked over your ankles. And then on an inhale, we're just gonna hinge right up to a bridge. So we're not rolling up like we did last time. We just come up in one piece and then we just unhinge those hips to drop them right back down. So lift up and right back down. Just moving at the hip joint here, trying to keep that nice neutral spine. So feel your glutes doing the work here. Those glutes squeeze to help you come up to a bridge, and then they have to relax to let you down. Trying to keep the same distance between the rib cage and the pelvis the whole time. So we're not rolling up like we did at the beginning, just hinging up from that hip joint. Good. And this next time we're going to go up and hold, pause right here. So that same long line from shoulders out through the kneecaps that we had before. On an exhale, lift the right leg up to tabletop and inhale lower. And exhale, left leg up and inhale lower. Good. And again, right leg and lower and left leg and lower, and then drop your hips right back down. So it's kind of like what we did earlier with just the core stuff, but now we're adding in glute work to it. So on an inhale, hinge up to a bridge. Exhale, right knee up and inhale lower. Exhale, left knee up and inhale lower. One more, right and lower and left and lower, and drop your hips right back down. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, right leg up and lower. Left leg up and lower. Exhale, right leg. Inhale, lower. Left leg. Inhale, lower. And then exhale, drop yourself right back down. Good. So we're right back here where we started in neutral spine. Walk your knees and ankles in towards each other. Good. Let's let both hands rest on your hip bones, and then let both knees open wide. So you're just letting them butterfly open. And then I want you to just notice what happens in your low back when you do this. For some of us, it's nothing. For some of us, it causes a big arch in the low back. If that's you, you're going to have to draw in a little bit more just to get back to that neutral spine position where you started. So right now, you'll feel that both inner thighs stretching. Hopefully, it feels pretty symmetrical. And then close both knees. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, open, and exhale, close. Good. So now this next time, only the right knee is going to open. So both hip bones are going to keep pointing straight up. Don't let the pelvis turn to the right when the right knee opens. You're trying to keep both hip bones pointing straight up, and then close the knee. And then let the left knee open. So that inner thigh has to release to allow it to open, but your core is firing to keep the pelvis level. Close the knee. So inhale as right knee opens, and exhale, close. And inhale, left leg opens, and close. Two more each. So right knee opens. You're trying to keep both those hip bones pointed straight up, trying to maintain that same relationship between the pelvis and the rib cage, and those inner thighs just have to release to open, and then fire to close. And right back to the center. Great. So now you're going to roll right onto your left side. So when you roll onto your left side today, let's send both arms out in front, and your head's going to rest. Unless that bothers your neck, then you can support your head with your bottom arm. I want you to straighten your left leg. So make it long, so you're at a long line from the top of your head through your heel. Right knee's going to come up and over and rest on the floor. So you're already slightly twisted towards the floor. Right arm reaches out in front. On an inhale, reach the right arm up to the ceiling. Keep the right knee touching the floor. Don't let it go with you. As you exhale, roll open. You might not make it all the way open here. A lot of us won't. Stay here, inhale, and exhale, close. And again, inhale, right arm to the ceiling. Exhale, roll open. Keep the right knee touching the floor. See how far you get. Good. So if your hand and your shoulder have not hit the floor, let the knee go a little bit so you can get all the way to the floor. Just feel the difference there when you let the hip rotate with you. Stay here, inhale, and exhale, close. One more like that. Inhale, arm to the ceiling. Exhale, roll open. First, keep the knee down. Now let the knee come with you a little bit if you need to. Now once that shoulder's hit the floor, maybe you can try to tug that right knee towards the floor again, but not if it's such a strong stretch it's uncomfortable. It might just give you a better stretch. Stay here, inhale, and exhale, close. Good. So once we come back, we're now going to pull that bottom knee up. So now both knees are bent, and then line your heels up with your seat. So if you could imagine that you were against a wall, the back of your head, the back of the pelvis, and your heels would all be against the wall. So now we're going to just keep the head relaxed here. Keep a tiny little space under that left waistline so you're not completely relaxing into the floor. Both hip bones are pointing straight forward. I might even take top hand right to the pelvis here. Now float the right knee and pause right here. So your right knee is lifted. Both hip bones are pointing straight forward. And then feel your right seat squeezing to hold your knee up, and then slowly lower that knee. And again, lift the right knee, pause here, So you'll feel that right seat squeezing to rotate the hip outward. Both hip bones are pointing straight forward and lower. One more like this. Float the right knee, pause, and lower. Now you can stick with that one, or to make it a little harder, you're going to float both feet off the floor. So as soon as I floated both feet, those knees are down, both feet are lifted. So now the pelvis wants to turn towards the floor a little, so I got to square it off, lift the right knee, pause right here. So that bottom foot is lifted, and then I've got my toes touching together, both hip bones pointing forward. This top seat, my right seat, is working to rotate that right hip open. Now I'm going to slowly lower it. It's got more range of motion now to work through, and lift right back up. And slowly lower, and lift right back up. Good. So we're still trying to find muscles on the back of the seat. They're like on the side and the back. As we do this, sometimes coming into this position, it makes people get really grippy on the front of the thigh. If that's what you're feeling, just lower the feet back down and come from here. And maybe even using your hands back here to remind this top seat to fire, because you want it to become coming more from the side and the back, not from the top of the thigh. Good. And we just have 5 more. Lift and lower. 4 more. Lift and lower. 3 more. Lift and lower. 2 more. And last one. Lift, hold here. Again, both hip bones are pointing forward. Top seat is squeezing. Stay here for an inhale and exhale. And then slowly lower your knees and release your feet. Good, and you can roll right onto your other side. So when we come onto our right side, we're going to straighten the right leg all the way long against the mat, and then the left knee is going to come up and rest on the floor. You're going to let your head rest. Unless that hurts your neck, then the bottom arm can support your head. Both arms are reaching out in front. Inhale, left arm to the ceiling. Exhale, start to twist open. You're working your arm towards the floor, but it might not get there because we're keeping this left knee touching the floor. Stay here, inhale, and then exhale, close. And again, inhale, left arm to the ceiling. Exhale, roll it open. You're working it towards the floor. If it's hanging out like mine is, now see if you can just release that left knee slightly. It'll let you twist further to get the arm to the floor. Inhale here, and then exhale, close. One more time. Inhale, arm to the ceiling. Exhale, twist open. If you need to, you're going to let that knee float a little bit. And then once the arm's on the floor, see if you can gently work your left knee back towards the floor just to increase the stretch. Stay here, inhale, and then exhale, close. Good. So now you're going to pull that right knee up under the left. And remember, we're lining up against the back edge of the mat as if we were against the wall. You can support your head. There's a tiny space you're holding onto under your waistline here. The back of your shoulders, the back of the pelvis, and the heels are all lined up against that imaginary wall. Hip bones point forward, lift that left knee. Pause right here. So you want to feel this back seat working to rotate and lift that knee outward. Both hip bones keep pointing straight down. You can keep your hand on your hip bones here just to make sure that that stays stable, and then slowly lower the knee. And again, lift the left knee. Pause here, feel that lift coming from here, and slowly lower, and lift. Keep both hip bones pointing forward, and lower. One more time, lift, and lower. You can stay there, or we can change it, lift both feet. So both feet are in the air. The pelvis is going to want to turn towards the floor, but you're going to try to keep it square, and then lift that top knee, pause here. So we still have both hip bones pointing straight forward. Toes are touching, that top knee is rotated open, and that's coming from right back here. Slowly lower it. It's got more range of motion to hit the floor and then come right back up. And slowly lower and lift right back up. So again, we want to feel this right back here. If you find that you're getting it more from the top or the front of your thigh, maybe just lower those feet back to the floor and work from there and see if you can find these muscles right in the back of the seat again. You can go hands to the hips to help you keep your pelvis stable. You might even go fingertips right back here, just as a little reminder to make these muscles work. Sometimes they just want to be lazy and let your stronger muscles try to take over. And we've got 5 more. and 4, and 3, and 2, and hold this last one up. Hold here, feel that back seat firing, both hip bones pointing straight forward. Stay here for an inhale and exhale, and then slowly lower your knee, and then release the feet and hug both those knees in, and you're gonna come right up to hands and knees. So when we come to hands and knees, we're gonna spread fingertips wide, press palms into the floor. Shoulders are stacked right over the wrists. Knees are hips width distance apart. On an inhale, extend through the spine, gaze forward, pull your shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, lift the low belly, round through the spine, press through the floor. And again, inhale, extend through the spine, gaze forward. And exhale, lift the low belly, round through the spine, press through the floor. One more time, inhale and extend, shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, draw right back to neutral. Good, so in neutral, you have a slight curve in the low back. You're connecting ribcage to pelvis to support that curve. The neck is nice and long, tailbone's reaching out towards the wall behind you. Now let your shoulder blades pinch together. You'll feel the sternum get closer to the floor. Press through the floor, making space between the shoulder blades, and then let those shoulder blades pinch together, and then press out and away. Let the shoulder blades come together, and press out and away. 2 more, pinch, and press. 1 more time, pinch, and press. And then pause here. You can release from that big press just a little bit. So you're trying to keep space between the shoulder blades, but you're not rounding up through the thoracic spine. Nice neutral spine. Slowly float that right knee up off the floor and pause right here. So we're trying to shift as little as possible when we float that right knee and then place it back down. And now float the left knee. Trying to shift as little to the right as possible as you float that left knee off the floor, just that tiny little lift, and lower it back down. Float the right hand and place it down, and left hand and place it down. Float the right knee again, pause here. Now keeping this nice neutral spine, you're going to send that right leg out behind you, extending through the hip, but trying to keep both hip bones pointing straight down, and then lower it right back where you started, just hovering over the floor, not quite touching, and then send the right leg right back behind you again. Feel that right glute working to squeeze and lift the leg, and then it releases to let you come back down and hover over the floor. And again, reach the leg out, and let it come right back down. 2 more times, reach it out, and down, and 1 more time, reach, and down. Lower that right knee back to the floor, float the left. And now send the left leg back behind you and pause. So you're pressing through the right shin, keeping pressure on both hands evenly, and then lower that left knee back where it started, just hovering across the floor, and then reach it back behind you again, and lower. So you're trying to keep both hip bones pointing in the same direction to the floor the whole time. That same connection ribcage to pelvis, so the back's not arching or flattening. Staying nice and level, and we're just hinging at the hip joint to extend the leg behind us. 2 more times, reach, and lower. 1 more time, lengthen away, and lower, place it back down onto the floor. Float the right knee, send the right leg back behind you. This time we are going to use our stomach muscles and round out the low back. So inhale here, exhale, lift the low belly, round through the spine as you pull your right knee in as close to your face as you can get it. Pull it in, and then place the foot right between your hands and come up to a low lunge. So once we're in this position, the foot and the knee are hips width distance apart. We're stacked ears over shoulders, over hips, over the back knee. Now that we're here, I want you to do a posterior tilt, so tuck the tailbone under, tilting the pelvis back. So we're firing our stomach muscles and using those muscles to help us get a stretch on the top of the left thigh. So let's keep the right hand right here at the lower rib cage. Left arm comes forward and up overhead. So notice for some of us when the arm goes up, those ribs want to flare. I want you to try to draw the ribs down gently. And then try to reach the arm up, but if it doesn't go very far, that's fine. Keep that posterior tilt, so we're keeping the stretch in the front of the left hip and thigh. And now let the left elbow bend. Right hand's gonna come up, grab that left elbow and start to reach it back behind. Good. So now those ribs may flare a little bit more. It's okay if they move somewhat, but try to keep drawing them down gently, just so you feel your stomach muscles stabilizing the rib cage. Stay here, inhale and exhale. Release your hands, so the right arm's gonna come by your side, left arm to the ceiling. Inhale, reach the fingertips away from each other. Exhale, side bend towards the right. Stay here, inhale and exhale. Right arm comes up to meet the left. And then both hands come behind you, interlace your fingers. Start to roll the shoulders open. Remember that control of the rib cage here. We're not gonna let the ribs flare. And you can float your hands off your seat. Feel the chest opening, maybe reach those knuckles back towards your heel. You should feel an opening in the chest. You shouldn't feel any neck tension in the neck or shoulders here. Stay here and inhale and exhale. And release your arms. Let's cross them across your chest. One more inhale. Exhale, twist towards the right. Stay here, inhale. And exhale, unwind. And then release both hands to the floor. Press your hands to the floor, unweight the right foot. Send it all the way back behind you. Reach the left arm out in front. Inhale here. And then exhale, replace hand and knee to the floor. Float the left knee. Send it back behind you. Pause here and inhale. And then exhale, lift the low belly, round through the spine as you pull that left knee towards your face. Pull it in. And then place it on the floor between your hands and come up to our low lunge on the other side. So again, we have ears over shoulders, over hips, over back knee. Our foot and our knee are hips width distance apart. And then we'll do that posterior tilt. So we tuck the tailbone under, pull the belly in to catch the stretch in the front of the right hip and thigh. Let's let our left hand rest on the low rib cage, right arm comes forward, and it starts to come up. And just notice as the arm comes up, if those ribs want to flare, you can gently draw them down as you try to work your right arm up. Good, now you can bend the right elbow. Left hand's gonna come up, grab that right elbow and start to press back, finding our right tricep stretch. And just notice again if that causes those ribs to flare. It likely will a little bit. You don't need to lock your ribs down, but just feel how you're using these muscles to stabilize the rib cage as we try to stretch away with the right arm. Stay here and inhale and exhale. Release your left arm to your side, right arm to the ceiling. Inhale, fingertips reach away from each other. Exhale, side bend towards the left. Stay here, inhale. And exhale, left arm comes up to meet the right. And then both hands come behind you, interlace, put a different thumb on top. Start to roll the shoulders open. Float your hands off your seat if you can. And think about reaching those knuckles back behind you. Stay here, inhale and exhale. Release your hands and you can cross them across your chest. Nice big inhale here. Exhale, twist towards the left. Stay here, inhale and exhale, unwind and release both hands to the floor. Press through both hands to unweight the left foot. Send it all the way back behind you. Pause here, reach the right arm out in front. Inhale. And exhale, and replace hand and knees to the floor, and then sink all the way back to child's pose, walk your hands out. Let your forehead rest on the floor, and then see if you can walk your fingertips out just a little bit further. As you inhale, feel the rib cage expand, and exhale, draw the ribs down and in. Now let's start to walk both hands over towards the right. Left fingertips walking up towards the top right corner of the mat. So we've just side bent a little towards the right, creating more space between the left side of the rib cage and the left side of the pelvis. On your next inhale, breathe right into the left rib cage, feel it expand. That'll increase the stretch. And exhale, draw the ribs down and in. One more inhale, rib cage expanding. And exhale. and come on back center, and then over towards the other side. Walking over towards the left, right fingertips reaching up towards the top left corner of the mat. Feel the increased space between the right side of the rib cage and the right side of the pelvis. Your next inhale, breathe right into the right rib cage. And exhale, ribs draw down and in. One more inhale. And exhale. And come right back center. And then come right back up to hands and knees. Good. All right, so once we come back up to hands and knees, we're actually going to drop down onto our forearms here. So when we're on our forearms, the elbows and forearms are pressing into the floor, and then you can just interlace your fingers so you make a little, almost a little tripod with your arms, little triangle with your arms. So once we come into this position, you want to make sure you send your arms out far enough that you can get that nice long spine, just like we had on hands and knees. So your hips are higher than the shoulders, but we still have that nice neutral spine. So the neck is nice and long, so your gaze is going to be between your elbows, or maybe even a little bit more towards your knees, so that your neck is nice and long. Really press through the forearms, and think of a little tug of your elbows towards your knees. So your shoulder girdle is really engaged here to stabilize. That's the big difference in this position, is that there's a lot more work through the shoulder girdle. So some of us here, if we don't pay attention, are really going to let those ribs drop and get this big arch. So for you, you've got to really lift the ribs so you feel connected rib cage to pelvis here. And takes a little extra thought to really send your tailbone out behind you, so that coming down into this position, you don't keep that low back rounded. So think about sending the tailbone out, but not letting the ribs drop, but stabilizing. So it's a little extra work to find your neutral position here. So once we've got it, we're going to float the right knee, which is a lot harder, and then send that right leg out behind you. So since we're angled here, that foot is reaching a little more high on the wall, almost to the point where the wall and the ceiling meet. And it's a lot more work now to not lean towards the left. We're trying to keep both hip bones pointing straight down. Good. So once your knee is there, I want you to bend it 90 degrees. So now you're going to drop that right knee right back down where it started, and then send it right back up. Those toes reach up towards the ceiling. Drop the right knee down, and then reach it right back up. Good. So there's a lot going on here. We're really stabilizing through the shoulder girdle. Core is firing to keep a nice neutral spine, and then we're trying to isolate that right hip, that right glute, to lift and lower that knee. So squeezing the glute to lift the knee, and then releasing it to let it down. And we just have 3 more, and down, and 2 more, and down, and last one, and down. Good. So lower the right knee to the floor. Take a second to reset. Float the left knee. Send that left leg back behind you. We're starting out with it straight, so it's reaching higher on the wall than we were before. Maybe to right at the point where the ceiling and the wall meet. Once you're there, bend that knee 90 degrees. Now lower the left knee towards the floor, hinging at the hips to get there, and then squeeze the left glute, get right back up where we started. And lower the knee, and lift it back up. Good. So right glute is working to lift and lower. Did I say right glute? Left glute's working to lift and lower that left knee. Core is firing, shoulder girdle stabilizing. So full body exercise here just to get that left glute going. And we just have 3, and lower, and 2, and lower, and last one, and lower. Good. So lower that knee, and you're going to come back up to your hands, but reach them out a little bit further than they were before. So it's a lot further than normal hands and knees. And now send your tailbone to the ceiling. Sink into this nice modified version of a child's pose. You're going to get a little more of a shoulder stretch here. Don't worry about the rib cage. It's going to flare. That's okay. Walk your fingertips out. Send that tailbone high. Stay here for 1 inhale and exhale. And come right back up. Get your hands right underneath you. Send the right foot out behind you. Tuck your toes. Left foot out behind you, tuck your toes, drop your hips here in a nice straight line. Pause here, inhale, and exhale. One more inhale, and exhale. Lower the right forearm to the floor, and then the left. Only one breath here, inhale, and exhale. Slowly lower your hips, release the tops of your feet, and here we are right in this prone on elbows position. So again, we're working that shoulder girdle a little bit. So you're pressing through your forearms, tug your shoulders away from your ears. Your neck is nice and long, so your gaze is out onto the floor just in front of you. You don't need to look forward here because that's gonna really extend the back of the neck, and we definitely don't want you to hang into the shoulders because you can just see all that compression there. So it's that press through the forearms, neck is long, and a little tug of the elbows away from your ears towards your waistline. Good. So I want you to feel how you're slightly lifting the belly off the floor and slightly drawing the ribs towards the pelvis. So we're engaged here, rib cage to pelvis again. Slowly bend the right knee, and notice as you do, it's going to pull that right quad tight, and that's going to try to drop the belly towards the floor. But you're going to keep that belly lifted and straighten it out. Now start to bend the left knee, and again, stay connected rib cage to pelvis so the back doesn't arch, and lower it down. Bend the right knee, and lengthen, and left knee, and lengthen. Right, and lengthen. Exhale as the left knee bends in, and lengthen. One more time, right, and lengthen, and left, and lengthen. Stay here, inhale, and exhale, lower yourself all the way down, and reach your arms all the way out in front. Good, so once we're down, you're gonna let your forehead rest, or you're just gonna look down so your nose is hovering. Arms are reaching out in front of you, and thumbs are pointed up towards the ceiling. Tops of the feet resting on the floor. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, blow all the air out, feel the belly lift slightly. Inhale, float the right foot and the left arm. Exhale, lower and down to the floor, give a little press. And then inhale, float the left leg, right arm, and exhale, lower. Inhale, opposite side, and lower, and again, lift, and lower. Good, so we're just doing opposite arm and leg lift. You're lifting on an inhale, lowering on an exhale, and giving a little press to the floor. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. So on the lower half, you're feeling your glutes and your hamstrings working to lift that leg. And on the top, almost feel like your arm is being lifted by your shoulder blade sliding down away from your ears towards your waistline. Good. Just one more each. And other side. Good. And then once you're there, you're going to come right back up to your forearms. And in forearms, you press to the floor, tug your shoulders away from your ears, neck is nice and long, and imagine you could even tuck those elbows like you're sliding them on the floor towards your waistline. Good. We just got to get ourselves back up. So we're going to tuck our toes under here, stay here, inhale, exhale, lift the belly to just pull those hips right up off the floor, coming right back to that forearm plank. Inhale here, and exhale. Place the right hand where your elbow was, left hand where the left elbow was. Pause right there. Inhale, and exhale. And lower both knees to the floor. Keep your toes tucked under here, and we're going to start to send your hips back towards your heels. And notice as you do that, you're building up the stretch under the big toes and the bottoms of the feet. Why don't you pause right here with your hands in front of your knees, and let's reverse one hand. Just turn the back of the hand down, and release, and the other, and release. So if that's enough foot stretch, you can stay here and repeat that, or you can come up, working towards sitting up on your heels. But I do need you to be able to breathe pretty easily here without clenching or tightening. One more inhale, and exhale. Lower your hands, roll right up onto the balls of your feet. Just pause here for a second. Feel your heels working towards the floor. And then you can start to actually press the heels to the floor. Knees are bent, just hover over those bent knees. Inhale here, and then exhale one vertebrae at a time. Roll yourself all the way up. Shoulders roll away from your ears. Good, and we're gonna be up to standing. Grab your chair. And today we're gonna have the chair, so the back, the tall part of the chair is facing you because we're just gonna use it for balance. So we're gonna start out, chair out in front where you can grab it. Feet are hips width distance apart. All your toes pointing straight forward. So just make sure you can see all your toes are pointing straight forward. And then let's take a second to find that neutral spine. So on an inhale, tilt the pelvis forward. Exhale, tilt it back, tucking the tailbone under. One more time, inhale, tilt it forward, and exhale, just draw back to neutral. So we're gonna keep this nice neutral spine and just rise up on the balls of both feet. Feel that low belly lift to help you stabilize, and then lower back down. And both heels come up and lower. Just 4 more like this. Lift and lower, trying to come right up over the big toes and down. Let's do 2 more. Lift and lower. 1 more time. Lift and lower. Good. So now we're going to stand just on the left foot. The chair's there for balance if you need it. Still trying to keep a pretty neutral pelvis. Lift the low belly. Rise up on the ball of the left foot and lower. And again, lift and lower. So this is a lot harder. So not only does the left calf have to have the strength to get you up on your toes, but there's a lot of core stability to keep the pelvis level with only 1 foot on the ground. Let's do 1 more. Lift and lower. Place the right foot on the floor. Take the left foot off. And then rise up on the ball of the right foot and down and lift and lower. Just 4 more and lower. 3 more. 2 more. And last one. Very good. Lower that foot. All right, so we still have the chair right in front of us for stability. You're going to keep your feet hips width distance apart. So again, both hips are pointing straight forward. We're in a nice neutral spine. You're going to rise up on the balls of both feet. So you're trying to stay pretty upright here. We're not shifting towards the chair. So we're pretty upright here. Remember that neutral spine, because now we're going to just slide down an imaginary wall and come down to a spot you can hold. Good. So if you could see yourself sideways, you'd see your ears were stacked over your shoulders, over your hips, over your heels. Kneecaps are going right out over the second toes. Your knees are coming out, so if you peek down, you really can't see your feet. But if you can kind of double check, make sure that all your toes are still pointing straight forward. You should feel the big toe and the little toe side of the balls of your feet pressing into the floor. So we hinged at the hips here. Now some of us in this position are going to get really archy. If that's you, you've got to lift the belly so that you can bring yourself right back up to the neutral spine. Good. So there's a lot of work here on the tops of the thighs. Some of us in this position really tuck that tailbone under and get archy or get rounded here. And then when you do that, it actually puts a lot more pressure on the knees and it makes it harder to find the muscles we want. So you do need to kind of kick that tailbone out to get yourself right back to that neutral position. Good. From here, we're going to see if we can lower 1 inch. The seat gets an inch closer to the floor and then lifts right back up. An inch closer to the floor and right back up. So notice we just have this chair that's not super steady. So you can't hold on for dear life and pull on it. It's just like a fingertip rest here for stability. And back up. So we just have 3 more. And 2. And 1. And then come all the way up and drop your heels. And we're going to go right back up. So lift both heels back up. Remember that nice neutral spine. And now slide down your imaginary wall. So we do have to crease these hips to let us down. We're connected ribcage to pelvis. Tops of the thighs working super hard here. Feel the big toe and the little toe side of the balls of your feet pressing. Go down 1 inch. See if you can go down 1 more inch and come right back up. 1 inch, 1 more inch, and right back up. 1 inch, 1 more inch, and right back up. Just 3 more. 1 inch, 1 more inch, and up. 2 more. 1, 1, and up. 1 more. 1, 1, and all the way up. and drop your heels. And lift right back up. I'm going to turn this way for this one so you can see. I'll go off to the side. Good. So coming right back up, slide down your imaginary wall. Find a spot you can hold. Ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Kneecaps going right over the second toe. Press through the balls of both feet. You feel the big toe and the little toe side of the ball of the foot. Good. Hold it there. Really press through the ball of the left foot and see if you can just barely float that right foot off the floor. You're trying to stay right in the same spot and just hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Place that right foot down. Find your center again. And now just float that left knee and hold. Really press through the ball of that right foot, big toe and little toe side. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Put foot back down, all the way up, and release. Good. So now we're going to come to feet, heels together, toes turned out 4 inches or so. So it's not a huge wide turnout, just a little bit of a turnout. And then once you're there, you're going to come back up on the balls of your feet and then touch your heels together because sometimes they come apart. So I want those heels touching. Good. So we're still in that neutral spine. You're sliding down that imaginary wall again. This time those knees come out a little wider. Good. So heels are squeezing. Kneecaps are going right over the second toe. So look down and make sure that's happening. You might find you need to just tighten up those legs a little bit and pull the inner thighs in slightly so that those knees don't come wide. Or you might need to adjust your feet if you just maybe went a little too far of a turnout and those knees are inside. Make sure kneecaps are pointing right out over the second toe. Good. So once you're there, you're going to hold there. Feel the big toe and the little toe side of the balls of your foot pressing into the floor. Heels are squeezing. We're stacked. Ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Got that low belly lift here. Heels are squeezing. Good. And now you're going to lower 1 inch and come up. 1 inch and back up. Just 4 more like this. Squeeze the heels to come up. 3 more. Squeeze the heels to come up. 2 more. Squeeze the heels to come up. 1 more and up. Pause here. Good. You're going to go down for 2 and squeeze the heels to come up. Down for 2. Squeeze the heels to come up. 4 more like this. Down for 2, squeeze the heels to come up. 3 more. Down for 2 and squeeze to come up. Down for 2 and up. 1 more time. Down for 2. Hold right here. Heels are squeezing. Pull the belly in. Feel these muscles back here. We found them before. They're squeezing again. Hold it here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up and drop your heels for a second. And now rise right back up on the balls of the feet. Reconnect the heels if they came apart. Big toe and little toe side pressing into the floor. And then slowly lower back where we just were. So again, we have ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Heels are squeezing. You feel the big toe and the little toe side of the balls of the feet pressing into the floor. You're not lifting or lowering here. We're staying right here. You're going to press your knees back a tiny bit and release. Back and release. Good. So make sure that when you press back, we don't reverse, like arch the back there. It's just finding your seat to press those knees back and release, back and release, back and back. For 8 and 7 and 6, feel the belly pulling up and in, feel the seat squeezing. For 3 and 2 and 1. Hold it here. Inhale. Exhale all the way up and drop your heels. Good. All right, so if you're really balanced challenged, you might want to still use your chair, but otherwise you can take it away because we're going to a tree pose. So we're coming back to standing. Feet are hips width distance apart, all of your toes pointing straight forward. You're going to lift the right knee up in front. Just finding your balance here on the left side, trying to keep the pelvis level. Now open the right knee out to the side. And then connect that right foot to the inside of the left leg. So maybe this is a perfect place for you and you want to stay here, pressing that right foot into the left leg. Left leg kind of presses back, that opposition where you find your balance. If you want to get that foot up a little higher, just use your hand
Good. So the right knee's turned out, pressing through the left foot, connected ribcage to pelvis, hands to prayer. Nice deep breaths here. And then when you can start to slowly raise those arms up towards the ceiling. Stay here. Inhale. And exhale. And slowly release your hands. Good. Now you're going to release that right foot and then see if you can just bring that right knee back in front. And for a bonus, see if you can hug that right knee up to your chest. Really pressing through the left foot. And then place that foot back on the floor. Good. So now again, you're going to bring that left knee up in front. Find your balance here first. Then open the left knee and place that foot on the inside of the right thigh or the right leg. Good. So wherever it hits, both hip bones point forward. You've attached that left foot to the inside of the right leg's pressing back a little bit. To find your stability, you can keep it there, or you can take your hand to bring that up a little higher onto the inside of that right thigh. And then hands to prayer. And then when you feel ready, try to send those arms up towards the ceiling. Nice deep breaths. One more inhale. And exhale. Slowly release your hands back to prayer. Release the left foot and bring it in front. And if you can, hug that left knee up towards your chest as you keep pressing through the right foot. Inhale here, and exhale, and slowly release the foot. Good. All right, so now we're going to take the right foot or ankle in your right hand, hug the right knee in towards the left, roll the right shoulder open, lift the low belly here so we don't have an arch in the back, and then start to push that right knee back behind you. So we're stretching out the front of the right thigh. We're still balancing on the left, and we're firing the core to prevent the low back from arching when we pull on those thigh muscles. Feel that right chest opening as well, and if you can send that left arm up towards the ceiling. Inhale here, and exhale, release, and we'll switch sides. So now you're going to be standing on the right leg. Bend that left knee so you can find that left foot or ankle. Hug the left knee in, roll the left shoulder open, lift the low belly. Start to pull that left knee back behind you, but keep that lift of the low belly so the low back doesn't arch. And then if you want, you can have that right arm reach to the ceiling. Stay here, inhale. And exhale. And release your hand and release that left foot. Good. All right, so after that, you're going to come back to the back of your mat. And hopefully your strap is near your mat because you're going to need to grab that in a minute. So nice big inhale. Exhale, drop your chin, lift the low belly, start to roll yourself down, one vertebrae at a time, coming all the way down, and then walk your hands out and come right here to plank. Pause right here. Tug your shoulders away from your ears. Drop your hips so you're in a nice straight line. Inhale and exhale. One more inhale and exhale. Hike your hips up towards downward facing dog. Walk your feet all the way in. And then you're going to sit down and grab your strap. So once you have your strap in your hand, stay here for an inhale. And then exhale, tilt your pelvis back, and one vertebrae at a time, roll yourself all the way down. So once you come down, you're going to take that strap and put it on the ball of the right foot and start to reach that right leg up towards the ceiling. The left foot is flat on the floor. And as soon as you've got that strap on the right foot and it's starting to reach, I want you to take a second to try to anchor your tailbone a little bit.
So I don't want your back completely flat here, but you're trying to get a tiny bit of space under your low back by keeping the pelvis level. Then start to work that right knee towards straight. So we're just gonna hang out here for a few breaths, just working on letting that right knee straighten, that right hamstring slowly releasing, allowing that to happen. And we've got the strap right at the ball of the right foot. Now gently just start reaching the heel towards the ceiling a little bit more and gently pulling the ball of your foot more towards your face. So we're getting that calf stretch going along with the hamstring stretch. So the whole back line of the right leg is lengthening here. So the heel's reaching, the ball of your foot pulling back. And you're continuing to try to work that right knee towards straight. Good, so getting the hamstring and the calf stretch at the same time sometimes can be really intense. So after we've just lengthened that calf a little bit, if you need to back off the calf portion so you can really focus on the hamstring, that's fine. And now see if you can straighten the left leg out onto the floor. So the back of the left thigh is reaching towards the floor, and you're continuing to try to straighten the right knee. And once you're there, maybe you can just gently rock that leg side to side. And that's only if that's a feel-good bonus on the stretch. If you'd rather just hang out where you started, I would stay right there. Good, one more inhale here. And exhale, hug the right knee into your chest. Bring the left one up to meet it. And switch feet. So now the right foot's flat on the floor. The ball of the foot is in the ball of the left foot's in the strap, and start to send that left arm up towards the ceiling. And first you're just going to hang out here and just gradually work towards straightening the left leg. So if you feel a strong stretch and your knee is nowhere near straight, then it doesn't matter, you're getting the stretch. Now start to actively press the left heel towards the ceiling as you pull the ball of your left foot towards your face to get the calf involved in the stretch. So you're still working the knee towards straight and lengthening the calf by reaching the heel to the ceiling and pulling the ball of your foot towards your face. And you should still be able to breathe deeply here. I think we can all get ourselves into a pretty uncomfortable position here, but I want you to feel like you're feeling it, but you can breathe deeply. You're reasonably relaxed. So if you feel like you need to back off the calf portion a little bit, you could slide the strap down or just kind of release the foot a little bit. But I still want you working that left knee towards straight. And now you can start to straighten the right leg out. Notice how it makes the hamstring stretch a little stronger. You're working the back of your right thigh towards the floor as you continue to work on straightening the left leg. But you can back off of any portion of it if you start to find yourself holding your breath or your legs getting really shaky. And if it feels good, you can do just a little back and forth here with that left leg. Back and forth. Good, one more time. And we'll stay here for one more inhale. And exhale. Hug the left knee in. And then just release your strap. You're hugging the left knee in, pressing the right back of the thigh towards the floor. Right hand grabs the left knee, pull it up and over. Left arm reaches out like a T. Stay here, inhale. And exhale. Come on back center. Bring the right leg up to meet the left. Lengthen the left leg all the way out onto the floor. Left hand grabs the right knee, pull it up and over. Right arm out like a T. Stay here, inhale. And exhale. and come all the way back center. Hug both those knees in, and then place one foot at a time onto the floor. Then you can lengthen your legs all the way out and just roll onto your stomach. And once you come onto your stomach, your hands are right by your chest. The neck is long, tops of your feet resting onto the floor. Tug your shoulders away from your ears, and then you're going to press yourself up as high up as you feel comfortable, extending through the spine, and then lowering yourself back down. As you lengthen, think about pulling towards the wall in front of you, making your spine as long as you can, and lower. Shoulders pull away from your ears as the head reaches, and down. Let's do 2 more. Lengthen, and lower. Last one, lengthen, and lower. Come right up to hands and knees. Pause right here, big inhale, extend through the spine. Exhale, lift the low belly around through the spine, press through the floor. One more time, inhale and extend. Exhale, draw right back to neutral, tuck the toes under. Send your hips back towards your heels. Walk your hands in, roll up onto the balls of your feet. Drop your heels, inhale here. And exhale, roll yourself all the way up. Shoulders roll back. And again. And we are all set.